Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's August 5th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And quick look at our daily chart. You can see it was a down day today. We closed down from yesterday, not considerably lower, but we did turn down and close lower. Will we get another leg down here? It's possible. I think you could argue for that we might try to make another leg down, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. As of now, it looks like we'll try to make another leg down, but we could. I mean, it's not even 4 o'clock yet. We could end up closing higher. It's doubtful, but it could happen. We see the market move quite a bit right into the close lately, so things could still change. But it looks like as of now, we're going to close lower. So there it is on the daily chart. Before we flip over to the 2,000 tick chart, I'm gonna say this one more time. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, and I've had several people respond to what we talked about yesterday, and I know there's a large number of you. You sit around in your discords. There's 2 or 3 discords going on, uh, all of them following the Pat strategy, and I know they sit around in there and they mimic each other and they take each other's trades and they agree on this and disagree on that. And I'm just going to tell you again, all you're doing by doing that is holding yourself back because you can't learn your. We all have tendencies, and most of the time we have different tendencies. You need to know what your tendencies are, and you need to be studying your tendencies and working to improve on them and to lose your bad habits. And I've had at least 2 people respond to my conversation yesterday saying that they agreed with me that they used to be in the Discord. They left, they got on their own, they started studying, doing what I told them to take every trade on the simulator and then study, study, study. And suddenly they got better. Suddenly they improved. And that's how you do it. You don't get better sitting in a Discord listening to a bunch of losers. And I don't mean to talk bad about anybody. I don't mean to. I think all the people that start these discords are well-meaning. I truly do. I think that everybody there thinks it's a good thing. But trading, I'll say this again, trading is a lonely profession. And if you don't like sitting there by yourself trading, you're not going to ever make it as a trader. If you think you're going to have to trade with other people and have social hour while you're trading, you're not going to find success. I can tell you right now, I know you won't. And you're not going to find success in Discord or a live trading room or any of that because trust me, if somebody can do this and make money and are that good at it, they are busy trading and making money. They aren't dealing with a bunch of yahoos in a Discord. It's too frustrating. It's too complicated. There's too much jabber and yak and people putting their 2 cents worth and 9 times out of 10 they're just wrong. And then the worst thing you can do is get in there all together and I'll take a losing trade and agree that because you all liked it that you had to have been right and the market was just a failure. All you're going to do is set yourself back and fool yourself. If you're having losers, there's a reason. You're missing something. You're doing something wrong. And everybody's going to have losers. I've said that before. There's no way to get around losers. You're going to have some losers, but it should only be when you completely once you learn how to read this chart and you understand price movements and you're really skilled at it, you're only going to get fooled when you make mistakes. It's going to be a mistake and you're going to be able to see it quickly. If you don't see it when in real time, you're going to see it as soon as the trade fails. And if you don't see it, then you're not learning. You don't understand how to read the chart because there's something there every time when you have a loser. I can promise you. There's something there. Every now and then there's a trade the nuance is so small that it's really hard to see, but those are rare. Those don't happen every day. You're going to get some like that, yeah. You're going to get some that fool even the best traders, yes, but they're rare. And if you're having them a lot, or you're having them every day or once a week, then there's more to it than that. You have a problem. You were missing something. And you're not going to find it there in the Discord. I can promise you that. So I'm again, I have nothing against the people that start these things. I have nothing against the people that go there. I think all of you that do that are well-meaning. You think it's a good thing, and you're doing it because you think it's a positive. But you can believe me or not, I can tell you how to get better at this. And everybody I tell this that actually does it comes back to me and tells me, I can't believe I didn't listen to you sooner. I would have been ahead of the game long, long time ago. And the key to it is to get on the simulator by yourself, take every trade you see that you think meets our criteria, and then don't worry if you're right or wrong. Just take the trades and get as much of that screen time and learning as you can every day. But the real work comes at the end of the day when you go back and study every one of those trades, and then you study the chart, you study your patterns, make sure you got your trend channels right, your ranges right, see what you missed, figure out what you did right and did more of it, and figure out what you did wrong and learn from it. Figure out your tendencies and correct them. Not Joe's tendencies, not Sally's tendencies, your tendencies. Because yours are going to be different than theirs. Sure, out of the whole room, there's a couple of you going to have the same problems. But most everybody's tendency is going to be slightly different than somebody else. Our personalities are different. Our tendencies are going to be different. You're going to make slightly different mistakes. But the big thing is just learning it. And the only way you can't learn it, listen to somebody that doesn't know. And if they know, they're not in that Discord, trust me. They might be better at it than you, but they don't really know. They're not skilled at it, or they wouldn't be there. They would be busy making money, trust me. They wouldn't have time to put up with a bunch of yahoos in Discord. It's just simple as that. And I can tell you, most people don't have the patience. Most skilled traders, once they learn this, they don't have the patience and they don't care. They got what they figured it out, and they don't care if you ever figure it out. They need donors. They need people to donate money. And most people won't tell you that, but I'll tell you that. We need donors. If there's nobody losing, then there's nobody donating money. This free ATM that the skilled trader can go extract a few dollars here and there every day, it can't be done without people that come in and lose every day, because this is a zero-sum game. For every dollar you make, somebody has to lose a dollar. And so you need the donors. You always need that pool, and there's always a bunch of new ones coming in because people aren't going to listen. They're going to follow their common sense, and their common sense is, oh, I need to go over here to this Discord where all these people are talking about this so I can learn something, so I can share my ideas and get their ideas. And you don't want their ideas. The worst thing you can do is have their ideas, because their ideas are wrong. They're losers. They're just like you. They're trying to learn. If they weren't, they'd be busy trading. They wouldn't be in that Discord. So I don't know. I get frustrated with this stuff. I hear people complain and they blame me. They think, they make up all this stuff. Mac just picks these things out. Anybody can pick them out after the fact. Rah, rah. I hear this stuff over and over. I've been hearing this for 25 years. And people are going to continue to have the same gripes and complaints, but it's the same losers. It's the same people that come in. They don't listen. They don't follow the rules. They don't study properly. They don't trade. They don't get enough experience, and they jump out there live. They lose their money, and they blame somebody else. That's okay. You can blame it on me, but I've never told you to take a trade, and that's why I don't tell you trades to take, because if you lose, it's going to be on your own. I tell you to get on the simulator until you can prove that you can do it. And I don't mean for a week, and I don't mean, most of you start making money for a week and you're ready to go risk it all live, and you're not ready yet. Because the skilled traders the only way you can make $1 is to beat the best traders. And those best traders are going to beat you 9 times out of 10 until you get at least as skilled as they are, if not better than them. That's the key. So, when y'all are all sitting up in there trading along together, there's 2 or 3 smart traders out there taking every one of you's money. I can promise you that. They love it. They want you to be in there. They want you listening to each other and making bad mistakes and entering bad trades, and then trying to justify you were right because too many people thought the same trade was right. The herd mentality is the worst thing a trader. The worst thing you can do as a trader is have herd mentality. I'm just telling you. I mean, you can go read that anywhere. That's nothing new. That's one of the few sayings in uh, trading that's true. There's a few most of all those sayings that go back. Most of them are 100% wrong, but that's one of the ones that aren't. Trading is a lonely profession, and it's they used to call them um, what's the word? Not procrastinators, but people that don't follow the norm. I don't know why my mind's blank. I can't come up with a word, but you do just the opposite of what you think you ought to do. I mean, I've heard a lot of traders having success like that. They said any trade I ever enter was a loser. So I started doing just what I thought I shouldn't do, and I started having success. Started having more success. If I thought I should go long, I just went short, and I would have success. And the reason is because you're trying to trade with common sense. You've been rewarded all your life for using your common sense. And common sense doesn't work in trading. Prices do not move to common sense. I say that over and over and over. Prices have their own little set of rules that they move to. And basically all it is they move to the motions of all the traders combined. That's all this chart shows you is the movement, the buying and selling of all the traders combined. And it moves against common sense, and it'll never make sense until you understand what prices do. And we got a set of rules that if you follow those rules, they tend to keep you on the right side. They're designed to break the habit of the herd mentality, so to speak. So you need to be trading alone and not in a Discord or not in a trading room, or all that stuff is just wasting your time and your money if you're paying for it, and you're just holding yourself back. And so I've said it again. I'm done. I'm getting off that horse. If you want to stay there, if you don't want to listen to me, don't. All I can do is offer you advice of what's worked. I can tell you what people that have success come back and tell me. Over and over and over, I hear it. I finally listened to you, and I started sim trading every day, all day long, taking every trade and not worrying if I was wrong or right till the end of the day. And then I studied those trades diligently, and then quickly I got better. Quickly, not just got better, but quickly got much better. Because you need, again, you can learn this strategy sometimes in months, 6 months, a year, but it's the experience that you don't have. You need lots and lots of screen time trading live data. And you can't afford to do that trading live, so you have to get that experience on the simulator trading live data on the simulator. The only difference is you're trading the same thing you would trade if you were trading with real money, except you have a fake account. And so I wish they'd had that when I first started, because our charts might be 2 or 3 weeks old before we even got them back in my day when I first started this. It's changed so much, and it's so much easier, but yet people don't see the beauty of it or understand the value in it, and they just ignore it because it's common, it's easy to get, and it's right there in front of them. They don't see any value in it. But I'm telling you the value, and you have to listen. And some of you will, and some of you won't. I know. I've been down this road a million times, and I know the ones that always come back. I'm telling you, they always come back and tell me you were right. I didn't believe you, but you're right. I just finally had no other choice. I was either going to throw in the towel or try something different. And I tried what you said, and lo and behold, it worked. So anyway, I'm not trying to twist anybody's arm. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I'm just trying to get the message out there. Not many people will tell you the truth about trading. I try to tell you the truth about trading. And, I used to catch a lot. I still do. I used to catch a lot of flack. People were not happy with me telling you that they're indicators that you pay hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars for is worthless, that their software that's supposed to make them money is worthless. All that stuff is worthless. Nobody's ever been able to make money with any of that yet. I don't know one person. I don't know one single person. The only people I know that make money every day consistently are chart readers, price action traders that understand price movements, that can read the chart, and they understand what prices are doing. That's the only people I know that ever made money. Everybody else are just donors. And the more money you spend for this craziness, the the bigger donor you usually are, because not only you're donating your trading capital to traders that can trade, that don't use any of that mess, that know the value, but you're also paying the people that selling that mess, and they don't like me giving out that message. They don't like that because it gets into their pocket. And I've caught a lot of flack over the years for telling people that. But I'm just telling you, if you're paying money for indicators or software or any of that, you're just throwing money out the window because they don't work. So just understand that. You know, there's some people that come in, they hear about our they hear about our second entry, and then they say, oh, they got an indicator for that. And they think they're just going to buy an indicator and trade every second entry it tells them, and they're going to make money. And that doesn't work. It because there has to be a reason to go long or go short. You don't just because a second entry happens doesn't mean it's time to go long or short. You need to know if there's a trend, which way the trend is, if there's congestion, if there's a break of the trend line, if the trend's coming to an end, if the trend's still strong, if the trend's still healthy. There's just so many nuances, and if you don't understand those, you're still not going to make money with a second entry indicator. So don't come by that thinking that's the silver bullet that's going to make you money, because it won't. So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox here and shut my mouth, and we're going to do the rest of the chart lesson. But so far it looks like a down day. Let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. A few more trades today. We'll go through the trades and we'll wrap this day up. Okay, here it is. You can see we started off in this range. Of course, we broke lower. Boom, we were off to the races. We found the low here. We tested a few times, and then we really just we rallied a little bit, about a 50% rally, and then we sold back off again. It looks like we're probably going to close testing the lows, or we might even make a new low, because we've had a break of this channel, but we've never made a new low yet. So prices are probably going to continue to attempt to make a new low here at a minimum. So my guess is we're going to go lower tomorrow too. We'll see. It's a little early to tell, but just looking at the daily chart, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have some more down movement before it's over. We did have a couple of news items. Only one of them was high volatility. That was the 9 o'clock news in here, so I did mark that area off. You had to be a little patient. There was one trade right out of the gate, and then you had to be a little patient today. But you can see the little failed breakout. It closes back inside. It's a rather big bar, but it's a nice setup. I think you want to go short on the failed breakout, I think you can. This did close back inside the range, so I think you were okay to go short on that and not wait on a lower high. The lower high came way down here, so it didn't qualify. It's still tempting to go short there, but I wouldn't do it. I'd wait. You could argue maybe there's a reversal, but we're on the other side of the midline, and if you're trading ranges, you want to go short off the highs or long off the lows. And if you've got a strong enough trend within there, you could trade that, but that's not that looks congested there, so you really can't trade that. But we run down to the other side and we bounce a few times. Unfortunately, we don't get a signal bar and it takes off. But that triple test right there, actually you got a triple test here. This was quadruple test, but you're just going sideways and there's no signal bar. So nothing you can trade there. You get a first entry, and then it turns back down. And there's just no setup there either. There's a possible reversal right here, but it's not really where you're looking for one. You would want it to be up here on a breakout or down here going long on a breakout. And notice you do get a breakout to the short side here, but no chance to go long. And then suddenly you get two legs back and it confirms this trend line with a third touch. The signal bar is close. Let me zoom in here a little bit. But I think that's close enough. I think that's bearish enough. It's only like, forget how many ticks, 6 or 7, yeah, 7 ticks. Second entry short. Nice trade. You probably get a runner there. You may not ride it out through this stuff here, but you would get a chance to get a runner there. And then you have a range here with that little push higher. So I think you could count that as a new high, but you still don't get any setups on that. Um, you might say, okay, there's a reversal here, but there's not room to get out. So even if you count that as a new high, it's not a place where you want to trade a failure, a continuation pattern. But right here, you actually get 3 tests, and it's right off the key entry point, the EMA and the trend line. And when those run congruently, they usually make really strong support or resistance areas. And so I like taking that. You could probably argue there's a hidden second entry there too, but it's not super clear. But either way, you did try to go higher at least 3 times there. And of course, you're working lower here. That's just a first entry. There are 2 legs back here, but signal bar is no good. And then we start heading back to the trend line, and we actually get a break here. If you'd had a good setup here, maybe you go short, but it's just not a good setup on my chart. And notice how it hits that trend line and then turns back down and fails real quick. So a break above that's a second entry. And so there is room to get out, so I like going long there. Comes back to the trend line again, but only a first entry. Runs up. No chance to really go short there. First entry. There is a triple test here, but it's pushing it because we're going higher every time. You can see the trend line. To me, it really just looks like the upper trend channel line is holding. But finally, you do get another test here with a bearish bar. So I can't remember if I couldn't remember if that broke higher or not, but I still think that's bearish enough. You could go short there. It is a second entry. Notice the new swing low there, first entry. So a break below that green bar was actually a second entry, but you couldn't use it. But since this has an equal high, you get a break below that, you could take it. And quick, easy scalp, nothing more than just kind of bouncing sideways, nothing in there. Drops down and doing the same thing. But notice you finally get a triple test here with plenty of room to get out. So trade that like a range. And that turns out it keeps going, turns out to be a nice move. You would expect a possible retest of the highs here on this first break of this 2-tier channel here. And you end up with getting 2 legs up out of this thing. You can see that, and it's pretty much 2 perfect legs up. But anyway, we're trending up. You pull back, you get your first close outside, you get a first entry, and then you get a second entry. A break above that bar there. That bar is close, but I think it qualifies. And then you get another one for your second leg up, and then it turns down. It's tempting to go short there, but I would wait. I'd wait for a lower high, which comes here, and the signal bar is no good, and then we're moved too far after that. No chance to really trade this turn down. And there is a second entry long here, but you're still in this channel. No break of it yet, no new low, no nothing. So I don't think you can go long there either. Runs up, close outside, new high. First entry, then it pulls back, and it gives you a second entry long there. I think you can take that. It almost looks a little like a little congested range here. So you could argue that you're going long at the bottom of the range, but there's also a second entry. So I like that trade. The EMA held multiple times there. You got at least a triple test of the EMA. It breaks out, turns higher. These are all just first entries. Again, it makes a lower high, but I don't think the signal bar is good enough. You get a close outside, a couple of legs up. I don't think you want to go short there, but if you get a good lower high, but you just don't get one. There's a failure here, but it's on the wrong side of the EMA. And then the bottom falls out of it. We're just working sideways there. No way you can enter that. Breaks lower, comes back. First entry, but no signal bar. And then you're chopping sideways again. Breaks lower. So there's just no setups there. There's actually 2 legs down after a close outside. That one's really, really tempting, but I think you got to wait on the high or low. Maybe you argue for it to be green, but you don't really get a high or low to trade there. And then you get a second entry long here, but it's an engulfing bar. That is mostly bearish, but it looks a little sideways, and that's a fairly small body, so you can argue that's congestion. And so, to me, I think you just have to sit tight on that one. And then it does push up and give you a second entry short with a nice signal bar on a failed breakout. So maybe you go short there, and then that takes you into 230. I don't see anything else. There's actually a second entry short there. Notice the double bottom, so a new low, first entry, second entry, but that's 235, almost 236. I think it's a little too late. So, but there it is. That's how I saw it today. The big sell-off early, and then just kind of mixed trading, slightly bullish for a while, and then slightly bearish for a while with a lot of mixed trading in there. So, yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings. But anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're already going to have 30 minutes. I've already said my piece, what was on my mind, and like I said, I get these. Every now and then something just tells me I need to talk about these things. I get a question about it or some comments about it or some complaints or something of that nature. And so I just say what comes to mind. It never fails. I'll get somebody that tells me, hey, it sounded like you were talking directly to me. And I heard it, and I needed that, and I appreciate that. And so hopefully there was some need for that that'll help somebody. But if you're not having success, I can tell you right now, the way you do it is not to go sit with your buddy and trade, especially if he's not a consistently profitable trader making money every day. If he isn't, don't waste your time with him because he's learning just like you. I don't care how good a friend he is. If you want to be successful at this, go sit by yourself, get on the simulator with live data, and take every trade you see that you think fits our criteria. Don't worry if wrong or right. Just let the trade play out. Take it and then just get out of the way. Let it either you're going to scalp out with a winner or you're going to get stopped out. Once that happens, move on to the next trade. And then at the end of the day, go back and study those trades diligently. Figure out what you did right. Reinforce that. Figure out what you did wrong. Make corrections. Figure out your tendencies. You'll tend to do the same things over and over again. A lot of times people tell me I can't quit moving my stop or I can't pull the trigger. I see perfect trades and I sit there and watch them, and then finally I can't take it anymore and I take a trade and it's a loser, and I watched all those winners go by. You can't be you have to be patient and you have to be disciplined and you have to wait on the right setups. But when you see those setups, you can't hesitate. You have to take them. If you try to pick and choose through the day because you're scared or are concerned or you're not certain, anytime you're not certain, never take a trade. If you don't look at that trade and think 100% that's going to be a winner, then you shouldn't take the trade. And there's only going to be a handful of those every day. So follow the plan, follow the strategies I'm telling you, and see what happens. Just try it. Try it for 2 weeks and see what happens. If you don't make any progress, you can go back to the Discord or the trading room or wherever it is you go with your buddies or whatever. But I never had any success early on trying to trade with other people either, and it's because they're constantly influencing you with their ideas, with their thoughts. And you think that's a good thing, but trust me, it's not a good thing because they don't know. They're wrong. They might, even if they're getting better, they still don't know. And they're going to make a lot of mistakes. And if you have a loser, There's a reason. Study that trade until you can figure it out. Don't just accept that, hey, a bunch of us liked that trade, so we had to been right, and they was just a loser. Because that's not true. There's always a reason, and you can almost always find it. And if you can't, I've told you before, bring it to me. I'll show you. I'll tell you what I see. And again, you're going to have some occasional trades that are very, very subtle, but there's still going to be something there. And it's just the way it is. And even the best traders are going to get tripped up occasionally. They're going to make a mistake, or it's going to be something super subtle, and they're overconfident, and they take a loser. Otherwise, I'd say you can get 100% every day, but you can't. Now, I will tell you can go for long periods, long stretches with winning streaks. If you come in and once you get skilled in your trading live and you take 2 or 3 trades a day, and then once you hit your goal, you pack up and go home, you'll have you'll have days. Eventually, you probably have weeks, and you might have some time where you get to months that you don't have a loser, but you're still gonna get a loser somewhere. Eventually, you'll trip up and have a loser just from overconfidence. I mean, usually for a long time there, most of my losers were just from getting overconfident because you get to thinking that you're just no way you can lose because you get really good at this, and then you'll get overconfident and make a mistake. You'll take a trade that you don't. When you've had 50 winners in a row, one loser doesn't bother you. And in fact, it's sometimes good for you because I can remember having winning streaks and it started to put pressure on me. I'd start to think, how long can I keep doing this? It's just unbelievable. The longer it went, the more pressure until finally I had a loser. And really, most of the time when that did happen, I think I created the loser just by getting too over, saying, okay, I'm just going to start picking trades here. Everything I do is right. And then suddenly you screw up. But then the pressure's off, and then it puts pressure on you to win. And I'll tell you, winning leads to winning, but losing leads to more losing. So anytime you have a loser, if you can't get mad at it, you can't binge trade, you can't revenge trade, you can't do any of that, or you'll just dig the hole deeper. Most of the time, when you're new at this, if you have a loser, you'd probably be better served just to pack up and go home, because most of you are not going to be disciplined enough. You're not going to have the patience to wait on the next winner to come along, and you're going to try to get that money back. You're going to feel pressure to get that money back, to get back to scratch, to end up having a winning day, and you're going to make more mistakes. So just don't do that. If you have a loser, you got to get it out of your mind. If you need to, get up and go walk around the block, go walk your dog, go pet your cat, go play with your kids, go say hello to your significant other, your wife, girlfriend, whatever, boyfriend, husband, whatever. Go do it. Get away for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then come back and try again. And if you have 2 losers, just probably pack up and go home, because you don't want that 3rd loser. And it's hard to do because you feel like, I got to get that back. I got to get that back. But that's not a good thing. You're better off to take 2 losers than to sit there and blow your account taking 3 or 4 because you've got flustered and frustrated. And I hear that a lot. I'd been doing so good, and then I had a loser, and I got all flustered and frustrated, and I just blew my account that day. Don't be that person. Don't do it. Don't be a donor. Get on the simulator. Practice. Get that trading experience. Get that screen time and trading experience, and study. And I promise you, you'll get better that way. And you might learn something in the Discord, but I bet you're going to learn more bad habits than you're going to learn good, and that's the problem. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.